This video will assist applicants in completing the Comprehensive Literacy State Development Subgrant Request for Applications. To access the application, go to the Ohio Department of Education's website at education.ohio.gov and search for the key term Comprehensive Literacy. Ohio was awarded a $42 million Comprehensive Literacy State Development Grant from the U.S. Department of Education to build on ongoing work to improve the language and literacy development of our state's children. 95% of the award will be distributed to local education agencies, including districts, exempted village school districts, community schools, joint vocational school districts, cooperative education school districts, early childhood education programs, and educational service centers. All information related to this award can be found on the department's website. As additional documents are released, they will be available on the Comprehensive Literacy State Development Grant webpage. The goal of the grant is to improve literacy outcomes for children from birth through grade 12 through the development of model literacy sites across the state. This 4-year subgrant will focus on developing model comprehensive literacy sites in each of the state's 16 regional literacy networks in early childhood education programs and district preschools, as well as elementary, middle, and high schools across the state. The model sites will concentrate on implementing practices consistent with Ohio's plan to raise literacy achievement. The grant will also support professional learning and coaching. The partnership between the model sites and the department will allow early childhood education programs, districts, schools, and families to improve student literacy and increase educational options available to students who have been traditionally underserved. Local subgrants will be awarded for a 4-year period beginning in July 2020 and ending in 2024. Approximately 95% of the award will be distributed directly to local education agencies and early childhood education programs following this distribution. 15% of the funds will be distributed to birth through kindergarten entry subgrantees. 40% of the funds will be distributed to kindergarten through grade 5 subgrantees. 40% of the funds will be distributed to grades 6 through 12 subgrantees. As you consider applying for a Comprehensive Literacy State Development Subgrant, please consider the following steps to apply. First, determine if the interested applicant is eligible. Eligibility requirements and subgrant prioritization information for early childhood education programs and local education agencies is available on the CLSD website. Organizations may reach out directly to the department to assist in determining eligibility prior to application submission. Step 2 is to submit the Intent to Apply form along with your local literacy plan. The Intent to Apply questionnaire is open until mid-February and can be found on the CLSD webpage. This brief online form will provide the department with relevant contact information for potential applicants and information on potential model sites that the applicant intends to propose. Applicants are required to submit a local literacy plan as a part of their CLSD subgrant application. If possible, please submit your local literacy plan along with your Intent to Apply via the online form. If your organization has not yet developed a local literacy plan, the online form provides guidance on what information should be provided in order to complete this requirement for the Intent to Apply. Applicants are required to submit a local literacy plan as part of their CLSD subgrant application. If not developed before submitting the Intent to Apply, the applicant must develop a local literacy plan at this time. Originally developed for the Striving Readers Comprehensive Literacy Grant, the department has also provided voiceover PowerPoints which provide a deeper dive into each section of the local literacy plan template. These are available on the CLSD website. Applicants applying as a consortium will need to also complete a consortium literacy plan. As part of a consortium, a lead subgrantee must be identified. The identified lead subgrantee must complete a consortium literacy plan based on the collaborative efforts of each member of the consortium. Please note that each member of the consortium also must complete an individualized local literacy plan. The consortium literacy plan outlines the commonalities across eligible organizations that warrant a consortium. Organizations first need to develop their local literacy plan so that the consortium literacy plan can be developed accordingly. All applicants must submit a local literacy plan with their CLSD subgrant application. Consortium applicants will submit both the consortium literacy plan as well as each individual member's local literacy plan. Step 3 is to complete the Comprehensive Literacy State Development application. The remaining time of this webinar will focus on the subgrant application. The request for applications is available on the Department's Comprehensive Literacy State Development Grant page. It is critical that applicants review the entire Request for Applications document. This is a competitive grant award process, and those submitting incomplete applications will not be considered. It is important to come back to the purpose of the CLSD grant, as stated at the beginning of this session when considered for use of funds. The purpose of the Comprehensive Literacy State Development Grant is to award subgrants that advance literacy skills and development. These skills include pre-literacy skills, reading and writing for all children from birth through grade 12. All funded activities must support and be consistent with the stated intent of the approved subgrantee. In addition, supplement, not supplant rules apply to this funding. Quality literacy improvement programs typically require investments in program and curricular materials, professional development for teachers, coaching services, quality tutoring services, communications, parent engagement activity, and administrative costs. The U.S. Department of Education outlined how local entities must use subgrant funds for each age band. This information is included in detail in the request for applications. Birth through kindergarten entry subgrantees must use their funds to carry out high-quality professional development opportunities, train providers and personnel to develop and administer evidence-based early childhood education literacy initiatives, and coordinate the involvement of families and professionals in literacy development of the children served. Kindergarten through grade 5 subgrantees must use their funds to develop and implement a comprehensive literacy instruction plan, provide high-quality professional development, train professionals to support, develop, administer, and evaluate high-quality kindergarten through grade 5 literacy initiatives, coordinate the involvement of early childhood education program staff, and engage families and encourage family literacy experiences. Grades 6 through 8 and grades 9 through 12 subgrantees must use their funds to develop and implement a comprehensive literacy instruction plan, train professionals to support, develop, administer, and evaluate high-quality literacy initiatives in grades 6 through 12, assess the quality of adolescent comprehensive literacy instruction as part of a well-rounded education, provide time for teachers to meet to plan evidence-based instruction to be delivered as part of a well-rounded education, and coordinate the involvement of professionals in the literacy development of children served. Subgrantees receiving funds for any grades kindergarten through 12 may also use subgrant funds to support literacy coaches, connect out-of-school learning opportunities to in-school learning, train families and caregivers to support improvement in adolescent literacy, provide for a multi-tier system of support for literacy services, form a school literacy leadership team, and provide time for professionals to meet to plan comprehensive literacy instruction. A list of unauthorized activities is available in the request for applications. However, based on questions we have received thus far and common questions from previous grants, we have included specific examples to share today. The narrative section can be no longer than a total of 40 typewritten pages using the following parameters. Narrative, including the executive summary, cannot exceed 40 pages, 8.5 by 11 standard letter size, double-spaced with 1-inch margins. Use Arial 11-point font. Applicants, including Section J, in their narrative, may provide up to an additional 5 pages for each competitive preference addressed. The narrative must address, in sequence, each section identified in the Comprehensive Literacy State Development Subgrant rubric. Each application narrative section contains instructions and the review criteria that reviewers will use to score the section. The department will provide reviewers with concepts and information to use when reviewing and scoring applications. In Section A, applicants will provide an executive summary. The executive summary is no more than 1 page and gives the reader a vision of the project and the alignment to the applicant's local literacy plan or consortium literacy plan. It summarizes the amount of funding requested, introduces the grant project goals and activities, and begins to explain how activities will support advancing the language and literacy development of the children served and develop a model literacy site. The executive summary section will not be scored. This section may be posted for public viewing on the department's website. Section B focuses on the identification of proposed model literacy sites and project goals. The first question asks the applicant to describe the needs assessment conducted to identify how funds will be used to inform and improve comprehensive literacy instruction aligned to the science of reading at the proposed model literacy sites. Applicants should use the needs assessment conducted to develop the local literacy plan as well as additional data specific to the proposed model site. Next, describe which goal or goals of the local literacy plan the subgrant project will support. The goal or goals of the subgrant application come directly from the applicant's local literacy plan or consortium literacy plan. Finally, describe the theory or rationale for the local project, which may be demonstrated by a logic model. A logic model, also referred to as theory of action, means a well-specified conceptual framework that identifies key components of the proposed process, product, strategy, or practice. These are the active ingredients that are hypothesized to be critical to achieving the relevant outcomes. Logic models describe the relationships among the key components and outcomes, theoretically and operationally. Ohio's theory of action for language and literacy development can be found in Appendix B of Ohio's Plan to Raise Literacy Achievement. In Section C, the applicant describes the current level of implementation of each strand of Ohio's theory of action and integrated comprehensive systems for the proposed model sites. Levels of implementation include exploration, initial implementation, and full implementation. Applicants unfamiliar with implementation levels are encouraged to utilize the resources available through the National Implementation Research Network. The first strand of Ohio's theory of action is shared leadership. Applicants should describe their level of implementation in this strand, including information on Ohio's improvement team structures, barrier removal processes, communications plans, and building level instructional leadership. The second strand of Ohio's theory of action is multi-tiered systems of supports. Applicants should describe their level of implementation in this strand, including instruction, assessment, and decision rules related to identifying children in need of literacy interventions or other support services. The third strand of Ohio's theory of action is educator capacity. Applicants should describe their level of implementation in this strand, including curriculum for all subject areas, core reading curriculum aligned to the science of reading, evidence-based intervention, high-quality professional learning for all educators and administrators, instructional coaching, including traditional or peer coaching, and collaborative planning. The fourth strand of Ohio's theory of action is family partnerships. Applicants should describe their level of implementation in this strand, including identifying needs, inclusion of family engagement in school improvement planning and implementation, and specific programming for engaging families. The fifth and final strand of Ohio's theory of action is community collaboration. Applicants should describe their level of implementation in this strand, including partnerships that promote networks to share successes and challenges, provide opportunities to problem solve, and time to consult to strengthen local literacy plans and community improvement efforts. Additionally, applicants should describe their current level of implementation, exploration, initial implementation, or full implementation of the integrated comprehensive systems for the proposed model sites. This can include the completion of an equity audit, equity non-negotiables, proportional representation among staff and students, co-planning and co-serving teams supporting all learners, co-planning and co-serving teaching and learning practices grounded in research and program policies, procedures, and funding aligned with equity non-negotiables. Applicants unfamiliar with integrated comprehensive systems are encouraged to explore this framework using the link in the slide. In Section D, applicants must describe the fit of proposed model literacy sites. This includes the implementing site indicators of the hexagon and exploration tool. This tool will help applicants address the specific areas of fit required, including describing the capacity to implement, the fit with current initiatives, and the fit with student need. Applicants unfamiliar with the hexagon tool are encouraged to participate in a short online course offered by the National Implementation Research Network linked on this slide. The applicant must also include other relevant information describing the fit of the applicant and identified proposed model literacy sites. This should include a description of an established relationship with the state support team's regional literacy network and/or previous successful implementation of literacy grants through the Ohio Department of Education. In Section E, applicants must address the integration and coordination of comprehensive literacy instruction. The U.S. Department of Education defines comprehensive literacy instruction in its 2019 application for new grants under the Comprehensive Literacy State Development Program. Ohio has divided the definition of comprehensive literacy instruction into 4 parts: content of instruction, quality of instruction, resources or materials to support instruction, and data to support instruction. The first element of a comprehensive literacy instruction program is content of instruction, what is taught. Comprehensive literacy instruction in this area includes age-appropriate, explicit, systematic, and intentional instruction in phonological awareness, phonics, and decoding, vocabulary, language structure, reading fluency, and reading comprehension. Age-appropriate, explicit instruction in writing, including opportunities for children to write with clear purposes, with critical reasoning appropriate to the topic and purpose, and with specific instruction and feedback from instructional staff. Opportunities for children to use language with peers and adults to develop language skills, including developing vocabulary. Links literacy instruction to the state's challenging academic standards, including standards relating to the ability to navigate, understand, and write about complex subject matters in print and digital formats. The second element of a comprehensive literacy instruction program is quality of instruction, or how it is taught. Comprehensive literacy instruction in this area includes developmentally appropriate, contextually explicit, and systematic instruction, and frequent practice in reading and writing, including emergent reading and writing skills across the content areas. Uses differentiated instructional approaches, including individual and small group instruction and discussion. Includes frequent practice of reading and writing, including emergent reading and writing strategies. Uses strategies to enhance children's motivation to read and write and children's engagement in self-directed learning. Incorporates the principles of universal design for learning, and teachers collaborating in planning, instruction, and assessing a child's progress and on continuous professional learning. The third element of comprehensive literacy instruction includes the resources and materials to support instruction. Comprehensive literacy instruction in this area includes making available and using diverse, high-quality print materials that reflect language and literacy development levels and interests of children. The fourth element of comprehensive literacy instruction is the use of data to support instruction. Comprehensive literacy instruction uses learner data to support instruction, including age-appropriate, valid and reliable screening assessments, diagnostic assessments, formative assessment processes, and summative assessments to identify a child's learning needs to inform instruction and monitor the child's progress and the effects of instruction. Additional guidance is given regarding how birth through kindergarten entry applicants should address this section. Birth through kindergarten entry applicants should describe how 1. Funds will be used to enhance the language and literacy development and school readiness of children served from birth through kindergarten entry. 2. How the identified early childhood education programs will coordinate comprehensive language and literacy instruction with the kindergarten through grade 12 identified schools. Additional guidance is also given regarding how kindergarten to grade 12 applicants should address this section. Kindergarten to grade 12 applicants should describe how 1. The identified schools will integrate comprehensive language and literacy instruction into a well-rounded education through both existing resources and support from the CLSD grant. 2. The identified schools coordinate the comprehensive language and literacy instruction with early childhood programs and activities, after-school programs, and activities in the area. In Section F, the applicant describes the implementation of the proposed project to develop a model literacy site by spring 2024. This includes key activities, lead persons, specifics of implementation, resources needed, performance measures, and timeline. Applicants with a well-written local literacy plan should already have this information readily available in Section 6. Additionally, applicants should describe how ongoing assistance and professional development will be provided to staff. For birth through kindergarten entry applicants, describe how the proposed project will prepare and provide ongoing assistance to staff, including through high-quality professional development. For kindergarten through grade 12 applicants, describe how the local education agency will provide ongoing high-quality professional development to all teachers, principals, other school leaders, specialized instructional support personnel, as appropriate, and other instruction leaders served by the school. Please note that all proposed implementation plans and budgets are submitted as part of this application as evidence to the applicant's commitment to develop a model site. Upon selection, the department will work with each subgrantee to update the implementation plan and budget to ensure comprehensive development of model sites. The proposed implementation plan may be substantially modified through agreement between the department and the subgrantee upon selection. In Section G, the applicant describes the plan for monitoring and revising the local subgrant project. This includes planning for monitoring both learner and adult data. Applicants should describe the following. 1. How the project will be monitored through data-driven decision-making, including a plan for revising and using ongoing data-driven decision-making. 2. The child or student performance assessments used to monitor progress towards meeting performance goals. And 3. The data to be analyzed to monitor adult implementation of the evidence-based practices or interventions. Applicants should look to Section 7 of their local literacy plan when developing this portion of the application. Section H of the application focuses on capacity building and sustainability. First, the applicant must address capacity building by describing how the proposed project will increase the capacity of the applicant to provide high-quality literacy improvement programming, the alignment of project budget with other funds to support the local plan and project, and how educators throughout the school or early childhood program were involved in the development of the plan and how the LEA gathered support for the proposal. 2. Sustainability should be addressed by describing how funds will be used to evaluate the success of the activities assisted under the subgrant in enhancing language and literacy development, and how the LEA will sustain the project initiative programming beyond the federal funding provided by the Comprehensive Literacy State Development Grant. Section I pertains to the budget worksheet and narrative portion of the application. Applicants must complete and upload the budget worksheet into the CCIP as part of the application packet. The budget worksheet details the proposed budget needs for the 4 years of the Comprehensive Literacy State Development Subgrant. It also provides the subgrant request for each of the defined age grade bands. Applicants must use the budget worksheet template that is available on the department's website. The following funds may be budgeted for in each age band the subgrantee is applying to support. Birth through kindergarten entry, maximum of $393,750. Kindergarten through grade 5, maximum $1,050,000. Grades 6 through 8, maximum $525,000. Grades 9 through 12, maximum $525,000. $1,050,000. Grades 6 through 8, maximum $525,000. Grades 9 through 12, maximum $525,000. The budget narrative provides an itemized budget breakdown and justification by project year for each budget category listed in the budget worksheet. Budgets should include only allowable use of funds as described in the request for applications. This application includes 2 optional competitive preference priorities, which are the focus of Section J. The first is to show evidence that a school or early childhood education program served outside of the grant application can already begin to be utilized as a model literacy site in at least one age band. Applicants that demonstrate this will then receive competitive preference for developing a model literacy site in another age band. Specific examples of this are included in the request for applications. Applicants should describe activities occurring at the site that are aligned to Ohio's theory of action and integrated comprehensive systems, as well as the commitment of the site to be utilized by the Regional Literacy Network. The use of the site described in this portion of the application as model literacy sites is at the discretion of the department. Upon award, more information will be requested by the department to determine if the site may be utilized immediately by the Regional Literacy Network as a model literacy site. The second competitive preference is to show evidence that the proposed model site identified by the application is likely to impact the rate at which the state is able to scale the evidence-based language and literacy strategies throughout the region. Applicants should describe partnerships with other districts, early childhood education programs, and LEAs, involvement in regional networks, and past experiences with replication of efforts. There are 8 appendices in the Comprehensive Literacy State Development Subgrant application. The appendices do not count toward the page limit for the application narrative. All applicants are required to submit completed appendices 1 through 3. All kindergarten through grade 12 applicants are required to submit Appendix 4. Consortium applicants are required to submit Appendix 5. All kindergarten through grade 5 applicants are required to submit Appendix 6, and all birth through kindergarten entry applicants are required to submit Appendix 7 and 8. In Appendix 1, the applicant agrees to fully participate in the Comprehensive Literacy State Development Subgrant activities. Participation in these activities will factor into the determination of continuation of awards. This includes 1. Cooperating with National Implementation Evaluation. 2. Participating in the Annual Literacy Academy each year of the grant, as well as presenting at the academies in years 3 through 5, and participating in technical assistance provided by the department. 3. Participating in department-disseminated training on Ohio's coaching models, the Reading Tiered Fidelity Inventory, and the Ready Schools Literacy Transition Plan as determined by the department. 4. All administrators, coaches, and teachers participating in subgrant activities, participating in the department-identified pre- and post-assessments of evidence-based language and literacy strategies. 5. Administering and reporting relevant assessment data as indicated by age band. 6. Complying with all monitoring efforts of the department pertaining to the subgrant, including programmatic and fiscal monitoring protocols. 7. Being a contributing member of their state support team's regional literacy network and ensuring cooperation of model sites with the regional literacy network. 8. Reporting relevant performance measures as indicated by grade band. To complete Appendix 2, applicants must complete the Programs, Practices, and Assessments inventory. The inventory is available as an Excel file on the department's website. This appendix must be completed for each grade level to be served by the proposed model site, detailing the programs, practices, and assessments currently used as well as proposed additions through potential CLSD funding. Directions are included in each tab of the spreadsheet to assist applicants in completing the appendix. Appendix 3 serves to ensure that a diverse group of educators was consulted in the development of the proposal, and that support across the educational cascade has been given for the specific proposal. This group of educators should include leadership at the district and school levels, as well as classroom teachers and caregivers. Please note that consortium applicants must provide a completed form for each member of the consortium. Appendix 4 is required for all applicants requesting funding kindergarten through grade 12. Applicants must attach results of building-level Reading Tiered Fidelity Inventory Elementary Level Edition for proposed model literacy sites in K-5 and or Reading Tiered Fidelity Inventory Secondary Level Edition and screening items for secondary schools for proposed model literacy sites in 6-8 and or 9-12. Applicants proposing model sites at schools that have not administered the RTFI and will not be able to complete an administration of the RTFI with fidelity prior to submitting the application must submit a detailed explanation as described in the RFA. Information on how to become a facilitator of the RTFI is available on the website for the Michigan's Integrated Behavior and Learning Support Initiative. Consortium applicants are required to complete Appendix 5 identifying the consortium members. Contacts for each organization that has agreed to participate in this application as a consortium member should be listed. Appendix 6 details an additional funding opportunity for districts in Comprehensive Literacy State Development grantee states by participating in the National Evaluation Impact Study. This study is in addition to the National Evaluation all subgrantees are required to participate in. This appendix is required for all applications requesting kindergarten through grade 5 funding, but the opportunity is only available for districts with multiple elementary schools that are not currently receiving financial support through the Striving Readers Grant. Participation in the impact study will involve staggering the rollout of subgrant funds to schools through random assignment. Districts will receive additional funds for each participating elementary school as well as technical assistance on selecting evidence-based programs to improve literacy. Please see Appendix 6 within the request for applications for additional information and a link to the Impact Study webpage. Appendix 7 must be completed by all early childhood education programs applying for birth through kindergarten entry funding. This document will provide information about the number and percentage of children who are identified as low income who would be served by the grant. It is the responsibility of the program to determine federal poverty level based on the documentation provided by the family. Documentation of income eligibility must be kept on file for review by the department. For additional resources on verifying income, please refer to the Income Eligibility Worksheet and Declaration of No Income Worksheet on the department's website. Appendix 8 must also be completed by all early childhood education programs applying for birth through kindergarten entry funding. Applicants must describe how they will fulfill the obligation of all birth through kindergarten entry subgrantees to administer the early learning assessment to all learners impacted by grant funding and utilize the department's designated data collection system for data submission. As we close our video, please note that all documents pertaining to the Comprehensive Literacy State Development Subgrant application are available on the department's website, as well as many resources that may assist you in completing the application. To access the application and the Comprehensive Literacy State Development webpage, go to the Ohio Department of Education's website at education.ohio.gov and search for the key term Comprehensive Literacy. Thank you for viewing the Comprehensive Literacy State Development Subgrant Request for Application Support video. If you have any additional questions, please email comprehensiveliteracy@education.ohio.gov.